the lecture of the wax pattern, something about the investing and casting. So we'll read in detail about this investing and casting procedure today. Why this topic? Because some of the girls or some of the people thought that we don't have to do these work in as a dentist, but if you don't know any of the lab procedure, what is the problem? That you don't know where the problem existing. Sometime you got the this crown or FPD, but it is not fitting at all. So you are not able to know whether it is a problem either with your lab work or with you. So you have to know exactly when you see your casting, what is the exactly problem. It is either with you or with some other. And when you are knowing the lab procedure, you should know whether we have to give it, how much you have to do the preparation, and whether it is sharp. If it is sharp, what is the problem it will be doing in your investing and casting. So these are the things that you should know in detail. Only then you are able to make the good dentist. Because if you are not knowing the problem, always you think it is my problem or it is the lab attendant. At least you will tell your lab attendant, this is the problem actually, what you have done the wrong. So this is very important topic, and you should know everything about this investing and casting. So I this same I discussed you in detail before also. This thing, if you see here, this is your, I don't know about the pointers here. This is the pointer. So yes, if you see, this is the tooth area, which is the prepared, and over it in this blue color, if you see in the figure A, this blue color is your impression, and above this is your tray area. So this is that you are taking the impression of this. After this impression, you will make the cast out of it, and out of cast you are making the cast, and then dye, and then you will able to make the wax pattern over it. The same wax pattern you have to do in uh, this casting ring. You have to put it there with the help of the crucible former. There's a sprue, you will attach this in this investment ring. After this, when you have done this, you have to put the investment material from upper part, and you will fill all this area with the investment material. Once it has been cooled down, it has been set investment, then you will go for the burnout procedure, and this wax of the red color, it will go out, and this space will be created. Now when you remove this crucible from in above area, there's all investment. When you remove this channel is created here in the same shape, like you see this area. So what you will do in this casting area, you have to put your molten metal, and you will put it there so that it will adopt the shape of the wax pattern, whatever you have made it. And this is your yellow color, means this is your molten metal casting thing. So, well, what are the steps actually are when you arrived at the completed casting after fabrication of the wax pattern? It involves three steps. This simple means that when you have done your wax pattern, you are now ready to make the casting. For the casting, you have three steps. First is the investing. What is investment or what is investing? It is the surrounding the wax pattern with a material that can accurately duplicate its shape and anatomical features. Once you have done your investment, you will go for burnout procedure. And what is burnout? That is the removal of the wax pattern so that a mold is created into which the molten alloy can be placed. And after that, you have to do for the casting procedure. And casting is the introducing the molten alloy into the previously prepared mold, or after the burnout, the mold is created, and you have to put the molten metal there for the casting. So, what is the casting or wax up procedure? It is the finished cast restoration, which is duplicated by using the lost wax process as part of the indirect procedure. This is not a new procedure. It has been used from centuries to statues, so it is not a new procedure. Wax pattern will be duplicated exactly through the investing and casting technique. Whatever you have made in your wax pattern, the same thing, each and every minute detail will be duplicated in your investment and casting technique. So, what are the alloys, casting alloys? You have a classification. The first classification is according to your noble metals alloys. This is high noble, and predominantly base metal. And there's one more, that is titanium alloys also. So what is high noble? If you see there's 60% noble alloys, that means 40% gold should be present in the high noble material. In the noble material, gold requirement is not there, but 25% more or equal to 25% should be noble alloys. If you said about the noble alloys, these are the gold and the members of the platinum, palladium, rhodium, indium, osmium, and lithium group. These are the noble metal alloys. So these should be present at least 25% in the noble alloy. If you told about this predominantly base alloy, it has been less than 25% noble alloys. And noble alloys are all these material which I have mentioned in this side. And after that, titanium alloys, they have more than equal to 85% titanium alloys should be present in this material. And why we are having so many of these materials, and it is because in the initially there are different materials, and we are using the gold alloys initially, high noble and noble material we are using. But after that, because of the cost and because of the other things, we have to add in the gold so that it will be used as this material for casting. So these material will create some problem. Like if you say you have to add silver, copper, zinc, nickel, and beryllium, so that it will increase. Like zinc, it has to increase the strength, and nickel and beryllium, they will increase its castability. As a copper, it will increase the ductility of the material. And like silver, it will also increase the ductility. Ductility means when you are using the gold, you have to adapt it in the sheet so that it will adapt the shape whatever you want. So these things, for making the gold usable in your mouth, you have to use the noble alloys with the mix of these things. When you mix these things, and when they have a different procedure, what they got, that when they are using the silver, they will lighten the color, but it adds ductility. Copper, it will increase the hardness and the strength. Zinc, it will reduce the oxidation of that problem. And nickel, but it has some problem that it will cause allergy to some patients. And beryllium is very problematic, especially if the lab personnel will inhale it, or any person who will inhale it, it will be it will cause cancer, or it is called as a carcinogen material. The first classification is your according to the noble metal. The second classification is according to your physical properties. So the physical properties, we have four types. Like soft ones, it has less yield strength. It has elongation is good, but yield strength is less, so it will use only for the inlays. Then you have a medium type of classification, which is yield strength is more than the 140, and it can be used as inlays, onlays, and can be used for the full crowns. Then you have hard, that is yield strength is more than 201 to 340, and and it can be used as onlays or copings. When you are using for some other things, you can use a coping and short fixed prosthodontics. And there's an extra hard which can be used for the long fixed FPD, or which can be used for the RPD, and it has high yield strength that is more than the 341 MPa. So more the yield strength, you can use it for the long FPD and long RPD. Okay. Now you all have the voice. Are you listening to me, girls? Yes. Okay. I think you did not listen to this slide cost. Yes. Okay. So I'll explain it again. No problem. That cost is related to the precious alloys that is referred to as noble metal alloys. Noble metal alloys, you can call it as gold alloys, you can refer it as well. And semi precious alloys, which are usually refers to the palladium silver with or without a small gold content, and it is less expensive than the gold. So that's why it is precious, semi precious, non precious. These are base metal alloys as it are nickel chromium or cobalt chromium. So these are three classification I must tell you. First classification regarding your casting alloys is regarding high noble and base metal alloys. Another is your according to your physical properties, and the third one is referred to the according to the cost. Then, when you are doing the alloy selection, alloy determine the investment and casting technique. Hence, it should be selected first because you have a different alloys. You have many kind of alloys. Like if you are using the gold alloy, you have the different type of investment material. If you are using the base metal alloys, you have a different type of investment material. So it has to be dependent upon your material. So first, you have to select when you are selecting your case or selecting your patient. You have to know in your mind that what type of alloy, or whether you are making it's metal ceramic, or if it is metal ceramic, you have to know what type of alloy maybe it is a nickel chromium. If your patient is allergic to nickel, then you will go for cobalt chromium alloy. Or if the patient want the noble metal alloy, then you have to be in your mind whatever you are preparing for that. So alloy determine the investment in the casting technique, and that it should be selected first. So first you have to see the composition, whatever the composition is there, either it is noble metal or base metal alloys. Then cost, whether it is precious or semi-precious, depend upon the patient's economical situations. Then about your clinical performance and about your laboratory performance, whether you can make such of the whatever you can say margin accuracy, or your mechanical properties or bonding and all these things, or whether whatever you are doing, whether your lab technician will do all these things. Then you have the color biocompatibility, depends upon the aesthetics, and whether it is like nickel allergy is there. If your patient is not suitable for nickel, so whatever what the other option you have. Then your physical properties like soft type, medium type, extra hard type. And then you have to check what is your preparation, either it is single crown or FPD. So all these things, first you have to choose your alloy according to all these determinations factor, and then you will choose your other things. And I told you the first when you have done your wax pattern, then your first procedure is your first you have to make the spew your wax pattern, and then you have to do the investment material. So what are the requirements and procedure for the investment material? There are three requirements for the investment materials. That is, it should accurate reproduction of details of the wax in your wax reproduced in your investment material. Another thing is that it should have sufficient strength to withstand the heat of burnout and the actual casting of the molten metal. That's why we are telling you that when whatever you alloy selected, that will give you the reference to your investment material. For example, the gold metal, it will use the less amount of heat, and base metal alloys, they use a more amount of heat. So you have to use that whatever the investment material should have sufficient strength. Then you have expand sufficiently to compensate for the solidification shrinkage of the alloy. This is very important factor for the shrinkage of the alloy. Once you have done your burnout procedure and you have done your molten of the this molten alloy, you will put it in that mold. Once it is set or it is cooled down, it will go for the solidification shrinkage. So if you will not compensate this solidification shrinkage, what happens when you got your crown or your casting, it will not fit into your preparation. So what are the, so we should have to compensate the solidification shrinkage of the alloy in order to make your casting correctly fitted. So what happened, that molten alloy used for dental restoration shrinks about solidification. That for gold alloy is 1.5%, and nickel chromium about 2.4%, they will shrink after it being solidified. So extracoronal restoration like crowns, the shrinkage may prevent it from sitting on the tooth preparation. It is such a small casting you got that you are not able to fit it on your tooth preparation. For intracoronal or intraradicular, like inlays and cast, dowel and cores, if there is a slight shrinkage, it will be advantageous or it will be acceptable even. So it is necessary to compensate for the LOI solidification shrinkage by expanding the mold. Now, how can you expand the mold? There are some factors to compensate for this solidification shrinkage. That is setting expansion, that is wax pattern expansion. You can go for thermal expansion. You can go for hygroscopic expansions. And what are these expansions? What is the setting expansion? Setting expansion of the investment occur as a result of normal crystal growth in your investment material, and it is enhanced by silica particles in the investment interfering with the forming crystalline structure of the gypsum, causing it to expand outward. So what happens that there should be some silica particles in your investment material which should be expand outward, so that it will be this type of expansion is normally only 0.4%, so it should be there so that it will compensate some of the solidification shrinkage. Another is your hygroscopic expansion. This investment is allowed to set in the presence of water, and it helps in enhancing the expansion. It is achieved by immersing your investment filled ring in 100-degree Fahrenheit water bath. Once you have done your investment, you have filled your investment ring, then you have to put that investment ring in the water bath with the temperature of 100-degree Fahrenheit. And this hygroscopic expansion, it ranges from 1.2 to 2.2%. And then is your wax pattern expansion of the wax pattern while the investment is still fluid occurs when the wax is warmed above the temperature at which it was formed. The heat may come from the chemical reaction of the investment or from a warm water bath in which the ring is immersed. Now, I told you that once you have done your when it is solidified your investment, then you will put it in the this hygroscopic. So you have to immerse in the this water bath, and that temperature is 100-degree Fahrenheit. So this temperature will also cause the wax pattern expansion. So the low temperature burnout technique employs a combination of the wax pattern expansion and thermal expansion of the mold. So all these expansion, because these are zero point 0.4 or 0.2% or 2.2, and so they have to compensate for the molten alloys solidification. So, then you have a thermal expansion. Thermal expansion of the investment occurs when the investment is heated in the burnout oven. The high temperature burnout technique relies primarily on the thermal expansion of the mold. So these are the different techniques to compensate for the solidification shrinkage of the alloy. The investment, there are two types of investment. One is gypsum bonded investment, and another is a phosphate bonded investment. For the gypsum bonded investment, it has a binder that is, because it is gypsum bonded, so definitely it's a gypsum matrix, that is calcium sulfate hemihydrate. Then it has a refractory material, that is silica. Refractory material, what is a refractory material? It is just the material that is used to um, when you are, because you have to heat it in the high temperature, so it will use as a refractory material, so that it will not be blast this area investment. Then you have a chemical modifiers which are used to cast alloys with fusion temperature less than temperature, that is 1080 degrees centigrade. It cannot heat the investment more than 700 degrees centigrade. So these are chemical modifiers, and it is used with this gypsum bonded investment is used with gold alloys 1, 2, 3 gold alloys, because they are a little soft type of material, so that's why we are using these alloys. We will continue this lecture next time, because there's so many things to understand still. Till now, you just know what is investment, what is casting, how you have to do it. We'll I will describe in detail next time. I have told you only the gypsum because of phosphate investment. I will tell you in the late slides, because after in the next lecture we will describe gypsum bonded investment and gypsum bonded investment, the casting of the gold metals. Okay. So till now, if there is any question, please let me know. You have not understand anything.